Abduction and arrival. Sarah Chen's world turned upside down on what should have been an ordinary Tuesday night. The 17-year-old martial arts prodigy was walking home from her dojo, her black belt tied securely around her waist, when a brilliant light engulfed her. In an instant, the familiar streets of her suburban hometown vanished, replaced by the cold, sterile interior of what could only be described as a spaceship. Panic gripped Sarah as she found herself surrounded by towering otherworldly beings. Their skin shimmered in hues of blue and green, elongated limbs ending in too many fingers. Multiple eyes blinked at her from faces that seemed to shift and change with each passing moment. "What is this? Where am I?" Sarah demanded, her voice trembling despite her best efforts to stay calm. Her martial arts training had prepared her for many things, but alien abduction wasn't one of them. One of the aliens stepped forward, its voice a cacophony of clicks and whistles that somehow formed words in Sarah's mind. "Welcome, human specimen. You have been chosen to join the Galactic Academy of Superior Beings." Sarah's mind reeled. Academy? Chosen? None of this made sense. I didn't choose anything. Take me back home now. The alien's expression, if it could be called that, remained impassive. Return is not an option. You will be educated and trained alongside the galaxy's most promising youth. It is an honor beyond your comprehension. Before Sarah could protest further, a sharp pain in her neck made the world spin. As consciousness slipped away, her last thought was of her family, wondering if she'd ever see them again. Sarah awoke to find herself in a small, pod-like room. The walls pulsed with a faint, bioluminescent glow. She was no longer wearing her jai, but instead a form-fitting suit made of a material she couldn't identify. It shimmered and changed color as she moved, adapting to her body temperature and movements. A chime sounded, and a portion of the walls slid away, revealing a corridor beyond. Sarah cautiously stepped out, her bare feet touching a surface that felt both solid and slightly yielding. Other doors were opening, and a stream of alien youth began to fill the hallway. They were a dizzying array of shapes, sizes, and colors. Some walked on 2 legs, others on 4 or more. Some floated, while others slithered. But they all had one thing in common: they all turned to stare at Sarah. Whispers and clicks filled the air. Sarah didn't need a translator to understand the tone. It was the same one she'd heard in school hallways back on Earth. Curiosity, judgment, and in some cases, derision. Is that a human? So primitive. I heard they can't even perform basic telepathy. Why is it here? Sarah felt her cheeks burn with embarrassment and anger. She straightened her back and lifted her chin, refusing to be cowed. She might be on an alien world, but she was still a martial artist. Balance, strength, and inner peace. These were her anchors in this strange new world. A holographic arrow appeared in the air, pointing down the corridor. Sarah followed it, acutely aware of the stares and whispers that followed her. The hallway opened into a vast chamber that could only be described as a dining hall, albeit one designed for creatures beyond her wildest imagination. Food dispensers lined the walls, producing meals that ranged from recognizable fruits and vegetables to writhing, tentacled things that made Sarah's stomach turn. She approached one of the dispensers, trying to decipher the alien script on its interface. A tall, willowy being with iridescent skin stepped up beside her. "You look lost, little human," it said, its tone a mixture of amusement and pity. "Allow me to assist. I am Zigzag's third-year student of xenobiology." Sarah bristled at being called little, but she couldn't deny she needed help. "I'm Sarah, and thanks. I have no idea what any of this means." Zigzag's fingers danced over the dispenser's controls. "This will provide you with a nutrient paste suitable for your primitive digestive system. It's not very flavorful, but it will keep you alive." A bowl of gray, unappetizing goo appeared. Sarah took it reluctantly, her stomach growling despite the paste's appearance. "Great. Alien oatmeal. Just what I always wanted." Zigzag tilted its head, confusion evident in its multifaceted eyes. Oatmeal? Is that some sort of earth delicacy? Sarah couldn't help but laugh, the absurdity of her situation finally hitting her. Something like that. Look, can you tell me what's going on here? Why was I brought to this academy? Zix guided her to a table, its long limbs folding gracefully as it sat. The Galactic Academy selects promising youth from across the universe to train them in advanced sciences, arts, and combat techniques. It's a great honor to be chosen. But I didn't choose this, Sarah protested. I was kidnapped. Zix's skin rippled in what Sarah assumed was the alien equivalent of a shrug. The methods of selection are not always transparent, but you are here now, and you must adapt. The alternative is unpleasant. A chill ran down Sarah's spine. What do you mean, unpleasant? Before Zix could answer, a commotion at a nearby table caught their attention. A bulky reptilian creature was looming over a smaller insectoid being. Give me your dessert ration, bug, the reptile growled. The insectoid chittered in fear, its wings buzzing nervously. Without thinking, Sarah stood up. Hey, leave them alone. The dining hall fell silent. All eyes turned to Sarah. The reptilian bully slowly turned, its yellow eyes narrowing as it focused on her. What did you say, human? Sarah's heart pounded, but she stood her ground. Years of martial arts training had taught her to face her fears head-on. I said, leave them alone. Pick on someone your own size. The reptile's laugh was like gravel in a blender. Someone my own size, like you, little pink thing. It lumbered towards her, each step shaking the floor. Sarah dropped into a fighting stance, her muscles tensed and ready. She knew she was outmatched in terms of size and strength, but she had speed and skill on her side. The reptile swung a massive fist at her. Sarah ducked under it, feeling the wind of its passage ruffle her hair. She spun, using the momentum to deliver a powerful kick to the back of the reptile's knee. It stumbled, more surprised than hurt. You dare. It roared, lunging at her again. This time, Sarah used its own momentum against it, grabbing its arm and redirecting its charge. The reptile crashed into a table, sending alien food flying everywhere. The dining hall erupted into chaos. Some students cheered, others booed. A shrill alarm cut through the noise, and suddenly, hovering drones appeared, emitting a paralyzing energy field. Sarah felt her muscles lock up as she was lifted off the ground. A stern voice echoed through the hall. Fighting is prohibited outside of designated combat training areas. Offenders will be disciplined. As Sarah was carried away by the drones, she caught a glimpse of Zix. The alien's expression was unreadable, but Sarah thought she detected a hint of respect. The drones deposited her in a small, featureless room. A holographic projection appeared, displaying an alien face that somehow managed to look disappointed despite its inhuman features. Sarah Chen of Earth, the face said, you have violated the Academy's code of conduct on your first day. This is most unfortunate. However, your display of martial prowess was intriguing. Perhaps you are not as primitive as we initially thought. Sarah struggled to find her voice. I was just defending someone who needed help. Isn't that what we're supposed to do? The alien face seemed to consider this. Interesting. Your species' moral codes are unexpected. Very well, you will not be punished this time. Instead, you will begin combat training immediately. Perhaps your martial arts will prove useful after all. As the hologram faded, Sarah sank to the floor, her head spinning. In less than a day, she had been abducted, mocked, gotten into a fight, and now was being forced into some sort of alien combat training. She thought of her family, her friends, her normal life back on Earth. Would she ever see them again? But as fear threatened to overwhelm her, Sarah took a deep breath, centering herself as she had been taught. She might be lost in a vast, uncaring universe, but she still had her skills, her determination, and her sense of right and wrong. Whatever this Galactic Academy threw at her, she would face it head-on. Little did Sarah know, her journey was just beginning, and the universe had much more in store for her than she could possibly imagine. Discovery of ancient power days blurred into weeks as Sarah adjusted to life at the Galactic Academy. Each morning, she awoke to the soft hum of her pod, the bioluminescent walls pulsing gently to simulate dawn. The alien food still tasted bland, but at least she no longer gagged at the sight of writhing tentacles on her classmates' plates. Combat training had become the highlight of Sarah's days. Here, her years of martial arts experience gave her an edge. While her alien classmates possessed incredible strength or natural weapons, Sarah's agility and technique often left them sprawling on the training room floor. Impressive human, growled Caxlor, the reptilian bully from the cafeteria, now begrudgingly respectful after Sarah had bested him multiple times. But raw strength will always triumph in the end. Sarah wiped sweat from her brow, grinning. Keep telling yourself that, big guy. As she left the training area, Sarah noticed a group of senior students huddled in a corner, whispering excitedly. Curiosity piqued, she edged closer, straining to hear. In the restricted section, one was saying, their tentacles waving animatedly. Ancient knowledge, power beyond imagination. Shh, hissed another. Do you want the guards to hear? Sarah's heart raced. Ancient knowledge, power. This could be her chance to gain an advantage, to find a way home. She had to know more. That night, long after lights out, Sarah crept from her pod. The corridors were eerily silent, the usual bustle of alien life replaced by the soft hum of the station's systems. She made her way to the library, a vast chamber filled with holographic data crystals and ancient tomes from across the galaxy. The restricted section was easy to spot. A shimmering force field blocked off a shadowy corner of the library. Sarah approached cautiously, her mind racing. How could she get past? Suddenly, a familiar voice made her jump. I wondered when curiosity would get the better of you, little human. Sarah spun to find 6X emerging from the shadows, its iridescent skin glowing softly in the dim light. 6X, I was just, The alien's multifaceted eyes sparkled with amusement, seeking knowledge beyond your clearance level. How very human of you. It glided towards the force field, long fingers dancing over an invisible control panel. Fortunately for you, I find your species fascinating. Perhaps together we can uncover secrets that will benefit us both. The force field flickered and died. Sarah gaped at 6X. You're helping me. Why? Let's just say I have my own reasons for bending the rules, 6X replied cryptically. Now hurry, we don't have much time. They slipped into the restricted section, surrounded by ancient artifacts and pulsing data crystals. Sarah's eyes were drawn to a weathered tome, its cover adorned with intricate, swirling patterns that seemed to move of their own accord. As she reached for it, 6X's hand shot out, grabbing her wrist. Careful, that's the Codex of Cthulhu. One touch can drive a mind to madness. Sarah gulped, quickly withdrawing her hand. Right, thanks. Any suggestions on what won't melt my brain? 6X considered for a moment, then pointed to a small, unassuming crystal tucked away on a lower shelf. That might interest you. It's said to contain the teachings of an ancient martial art, one that transcends physical limitations. Sarah's eyes widened. She carefully picked up the crystal, feeling a faint warmth pulsing within it. How do I access the information? Like this, 6X said, gently pressing the crystal to Sarah's forehead. The world exploded into light and sensation. Sarah gasped as knowledge flooded her mind. Images of fluid movements, concepts of energy manipulation, philosophies that stretched her understanding of reality itself. When the flood subsided, she stumbled, dizzy from the influx of information. What? What was that? She breathed. 6X steadied her, concern evident in its eyes. The cosmic fist. A martial art developed by an ancient race said to have ascended beyond physical form. Are you all right? Sarah nodded, her mind reeling as it tried to process the new information. I think so. It's just a lot. A distant alarm suddenly blared, making them both jump. We've been detected, Zix hissed. Quickly, we must leave. They rushed from the restricted section, Sarah clutching the crystal tightly. As they reached the main library, they heard the heavy footsteps of approaching guards. This way, Zix whispered, pulling Sarah behind a towering shelf of data cubes. They held their breath as a patrol of robotic sentries marched past, their sensors sweeping the area. Once the danger had passed, they made their way back to the student quarters. At Sarah's pod, Zix fixed her with a serious look. Be careful with that knowledge, Sarah. Power often comes at a price. Sarah nodded, her mind still buzzing with the ancient techniques she'd absorbed. Thank you, Zix. I won't forget this. As her alien friend slipped away into the darkness, Sarah entered her pod, her heart racing with excitement and trepidation. She had unlocked a power that could change everything, but at what cost? Over the next few weeks, Sarah threw herself into practicing the cosmic fist. In the privacy of her pod, she moved through the fluid forms, feeling energy pulse through her body in ways she'd never experienced before. It was exhilarating and terrifying in equal measure. During combat training, she began to incorporate elements of the ancient art into her technique. Her movements became more graceful, her strikes more powerful. She found she could anticipate her opponent's moves with uncanny accuracy, as if she could sense the flow of energy around her. Your progress is remarkable, human, her combat instructor, a four-armed warrior named graceful, commented one day. But I sense you are holding back. Why? Sarah hesitated, unsure how much to reveal. I've been exploring new techniques, she said carefully. Graceful's eyes narrowed. New techniques? Or old ones, perhaps? Be wary, Sarah Chen. Some knowledge is restricted for good reason. The warning sent a chill down Sarah's spine, but she couldn't stop now. With each passing day, she felt herself growing stronger, more in tune with the energy that surrounded her. She began to dream of using these powers to escape, to find her way back to Earth. But as Sarah delved deeper into the mysteries of the cosmic fist, she failed to notice the growing attention she was attracting. In the shadows, eyes watched her progress with keen interest, some filled with fear, others with dark anticipation. The true test of Sarah's newfound abilities was yet to come, and it would shake the very foundations of the Galactic Academy. Rising tensions. As Sarah's mastery of the cosmic fist grew, so did the whispers that followed her through the Academy's winding corridors. Her fellow students regarded her with a mixture of awe and suspicion, their alien features twisted in expressions she was still learning to decipher. Did you see her in combat training yesterday? A jellyfish-like being gurgled to its companion. She moved like water, yet struck like lightning. Impossible for a human, the other replied, its eye stalks swiveling nervously. There must be some trick. Sarah pretended not to hear as she passed by, but inwardly she glowed with pride. The ancient techniques were transforming her, pushing her beyond what she'd thought possible. Yet, with her growing power came a gnawing unease. The crystal's knowledge whispered of greater mysteries, hinting at truths about the universe that both thrilled and terrified her. One afternoon, as Sarah practiced alone in a secluded corner of the training arena, a familiar voice interrupted her flow. Your form is improving, little human, Caxlo rumbled, his massive frame casting a shadow over her. But you still have much to learn. Sarah straightened, eyeing the reptilian alien warily. Though their initial antagonism had faded, she still didn't fully trust him. Is that a challenge, Caxlo? His scales rippled in what she'd come to recognize as amusement. Perhaps, but also a warning. Your rapid progress has not gone unnoticed. There are those in the Academy who fear what you might become. What do you mean? Sarah asked, her heart rate quickening. Who's afraid of me? Caxlo's yellow eyes darted around, checking for eavesdroppers. The tribunal, he said, lowering his voice. The Academy's true masters. They oversee everything, and they do not like variables they cannot control. Sarah's mind raced. She'd heard whispers of the tribunal before, but always assumed they were just administrative figureheads. What do they want with me? That, little human, is the question that should worry you, Caxelor replied grimly. Be careful. Trust no one completely, not even me. As he lumbered away, Sarah felt a chill settle over her. She'd been so focused on mastering the cosmic fist, on finding a way home, that she'd neglected to consider the wider implications of her actions. What game was she really playing, and who were the true players? That night, unable to sleep, Sarah snuck out of her pod once more. She needed answers, and she knew just where to start looking. The library's restricted section called to her like a siren's song. As she approached the shimmering force field, a familiar figure materialized from the shadows. I thought you might return, Six said, its iridescent skin pulsing with concern. The knowledge you seek is dangerous, Sarah. I need to know the truth, Zix, Sarah pleaded. About the cosmic fist, about the tribunal, about why I'm really here. Please. The alien regarded her for a long moment, its multifaceted eyes unreadable. Finally, it sighed, a strange, whistling sound. Very well. But remember, some truths cannot be unlearned. Once again, they slipped into the restricted section. This time, Zix led her to a pulsing data crystal tucked away in a dark corner. This contains classified records of the Academy's true purpose, it explained. Are you certain you want to see? Sarah nodded, her throat dry. Zix pressed the crystal to her forehead, and the world dissolved into a torrent of images and sensations. She saw the Academy as it truly was, not just a school, but a training ground for the galaxy's most formidable warriors. She witnessed countless worlds conquered, civilizations subjugated, all in the name of a twisted idea of galactic order. And at the center of it all, pulling the strings, was the Tribunal, a council of ancient, impossibly powerful beings. When the vision faded, Sarah found herself on her knees, gasping for breath. No, she whispered, horror washing over her. This can't be real. Zix helped her to her feet, its touch gentle. I'm sorry, Sarah, but now you understand the stakes. The cosmic fist is more than just a martial art. It's a key to unlocking the fundamental forces of the universe. In the wrong hands, it could bring untold destruction. Sarah's mind reeled. She'd thought she was simply learning to defend herself, to find a way home. Instead, she'd stumbled into a cosmic power struggle with the fate of countless worlds hanging in the balance. What can I do? She asked, her voice small in the vast, shadowy library. Zix's skin rippled with a complex pattern of emotions. That, my friend, is a choice only you can make. But know this, whatever path you choose, it will not be easy. The Tribunal does not tolerate threats to their power. As they made their way back to the student quarters, a new resolve hardened in Sarah's heart. She may have been brought to this place against her will, but now she had a purpose greater than herself. Somehow, she would master the cosmic fist and use its power to stop the Tribunal's plans. But first, she needed allies. The next day, Sarah approached Caxelor after combat training. The reptilian alien eyed her suspiciously as she drew near. I know about the Tribunal, she said without preamble, and I want to stop them. Are you with me? Caxelor's scales bristled, his yellow eyes widening in shock. For a moment, Sarah feared she'd misjudged him. Then slowly he nodded. You are either very brave or very foolish, little human, he rumbled. Perhaps both, but yes, I am with you. Over the following weeks, Sarah and Caxelor worked to build a network of like-minded students. Zix provided crucial intelligence, its position as a senior student giving it access to restricted information. Slowly, carefully, they began to lay the groundwork for resistance. But as their plans grew, so did the danger. Sarah could feel eyes on her constantly, watching, assessing. The combat instructors pushed her harder than ever, as if testing the limits of her newfound abilities. And in the darkest corners of the academy, whispers of the tribunal's interest in the human girl grew louder. Everything came to a head one fateful day when Greg-Thar, her four-armed combat instructor, approached her after a particularly grueling training session. "The tribunal wishes to see you, Sarah Chen," he said, his voice grave. "Now." Sarah's heart pounded as she followed Greg-Thar through parts of the academy she'd never seen before. They descended in a gravity lift, going deeper than she'd thought possible. Finally, they emerged into a vast, dimly lit chamber. At its center, seated on towering thrones, were three beings unlike any Sarah had encountered. They seemed to shift and change as she looked at them, their forms barely contained by physical reality. The air thrummed with power. "Sarah Chen of Earth," a voice boomed, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "You stand at a crossroads. The power you've tapped into could reshape the galaxy. The question is, will you use it to serve order or to spread chaos?" Sarah took a deep breath, centering herself as she'd been taught. In that moment, she knew that her next words would change everything. The fate of worlds hung in the balance, and she was the fulcrum upon which it all turned. With steel in her voice and fire in her eyes, Sarah gave her answer, one that would echo across the stars and ignite a rebellion that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. "First triumph." Sarah's voice rang out clear and defiant in the cavernous chamber. "I choose neither your order nor chaos. I choose freedom, for myself, for my fellow students, and for all the worlds you've subjugated." The air crackled with tension as the tribunal met. Sarah's response was to drop into a fighting stance, her body beginning to glow with the power of the cosmic fist. "You're welcome to try." What followed was a battle that would be whispered about in the Academy's halls for years to come. Sarah moved like a force of nature, her mastery of the cosmic fist allowing her to anticipate and counter attacks from multiple opponents simultaneously. Energy blasts were deflected, cybernetic limbs were short-circuited, and even Greg-Thar's formidable skills were pushed to their limit. Sarah was a blur of motion, each movement precise and powerful, fueled by her determination to protect her friends and strike a blow against the tribunal's oppression. As the fight raged on, Sarah could hear the starships behind her powering up. She just needed to hold out a little longer. Sweat poured down her face, her muscles screamed with exertion, but she refused to give in. Finally, Zigzag's voice rang out over the hangar's comm system. "Sarah, we're ready. Get out of there." With a final, devastating series of strikes, Sarah cleared a path through her opponents. She sprinted towards the nearest ship, energy blasts sizzling the air around her. Just as the ship's ramp began to close, Sarah leaped, using the cosmic fist to propel herself forward with superhuman speed. She tumbled into the ship's hold as the ramp sealed shut behind her. Moments later, the fleet of stolen starships blasted out of the hangar bay, carrying the rebellious students to freedom. As they accelerated away from the academy, Sarah made her way to the bridge, where Caxelor was piloting. "We did it," she breathed, slumping into a seat. "We actually did it." Caxelor's scales rippled with what Sarah now recognized as a grin. "Indeed we did, little human, though I suspect this is only the beginning." As the stars streaked by outside, Sarah knew he was right. They had won their first battle, but the war against the tribunal was just beginning. She thought of Earth so far away, and renewed her silent vow. She would master the cosmic fist, rally the galaxy against the tribunal's tyranny, and someday find her way home. For now, though, as she looked around at her alien friends, her family, Sarah allowed herself a moment of pure triumph. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them head-on, with the power of the cosmic fist and the strength of her convictions guiding her way. The stars beckoned, and Sarah Chen, once a lost girl from Earth, now a cosmic warrior, was ready to answer their call. Conspiracy unveiled. The stolen starship hummed softly as it cruised through the vast expanse of space. Sarah sat cross-legged in her quarters, her eyes closed in deep meditation. The energies of the cosmic fist flowed through her, connecting her to the very fabric of the universe. In these quiet moments, she could almost feel the threads of destiny weaving around her. A gentle knock on her door broke her concentration. "Enter," Sarah called, opening her eyes to see Zixix glide into the room, its iridescent skin pulsing with nervous energy. "We've received a transmission," Zixix said, its voice a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "It's from a group calling themselves the Galactic Resistance. They've heard of our escape and want to meet." Sarah stood, stretching muscles stiff from hours of meditation. "Could be a trap," she mused. "The tribunal has eyes and ears everywhere." "True," Zixix agreed. "But if it's genuine, this could be the alliance we need to truly challenge the tribunal's power." After a moment's consideration, Sarah nodded. "Set up the meeting. But we'll be cautious." Days later, their ship docked at a hidden space station deep in the uncharted regions of the galaxy. Sarah, flanked by Caxilor and Zixix, made her way to the station's central chamber. Her senses, honed by the cosmic fist, were on high alert for any sign of danger. The chamber doors slid open to reveal a diverse group of beings from across the galaxy. At their center stood a tall, elegant creature with luminous skin and eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of ages. "Welcome, Sarah Chen of Earth," the being said, its voice melodious and warm. "I am Lyra, leader of the Galactic Resistance. We've been watching your progress with great interest." Sarah stepped forward, her posture relaxed but ready. "How do you know about me, about us?" Lyra smiled, a gesture that somehow conveyed both amusement and deep sadness. "The tribunal's grip on the galaxy is strong, but not absolute. There have always been those who resist, who see the truth behind their facade of order." Over the next few hours, Lyra and the other resistance members shared their knowledge. Sarah learned of the tribunal's true origins, not as benevolent guardians, but as cosmic parasites who had manipulated galactic events for eons to maintain their power. "The cosmic fist," Lyra explained, "is more than just a martial art. It's a key to unlocking the fundamental forces of reality itself. The tribunal fears its power because it's the one thing that could truly threaten their control." As Sarah absorbed this information, a cold realization settled in her gut. "They didn't choose me randomly, did they?" she asked, already knowing the answer. Lyra shook her head. "No. Humans have a unique capacity for adapting to and channeling cosmic energies. The tribunal has been experimenting with your species for some time." The implications made Sarah's head spin. How long had Earth been under the tribunal's influence without anyone knowing? "There's more," Zixix interjected, its voice uncharacteristically grave. "I've been analyzing the data we stole during our escape. The tribunal isn't content with just controlling the galaxy anymore. They're planning something big, a ritual that will allow them to reshape reality itself." The chamber erupted into worried murmurs. Caxilor's scales bristled with agitation. "How is that possible?" he growled. Lyra's eyes met Sarah's, a silent understanding passing between them. "The cosmic nexus," they said in unison. "Yes," Lyra confirmed. "A mythical point where all cosmic energies converge. If the tribunal harnesses its power, they could rewrite the very laws of the universe." Sarah's mind raced. Everything, her abduction, her training, the ancient knowledge of the cosmic fist, it had all led to this moment. "We have to stop them," she declared, her voice filled with determination. "Agreed," Lyra nodded. "But it won't be easy. The nexus is hidden, its location known only to the tribunal. And even if we find it, the energies there are beyond anything you've encountered so far." Sarah closed her eyes, reaching out with her senses. The cosmic fist had shown her glimpses of the universe's underlying structure, and now she pushed deeper, searching for a sign, a direction. Suddenly, her eyes snapped open, glowing with ethereal energy. "I know where it is," she breathed. "And I know why they chose me. The Nexus, it's on Earth." The revelation sent shockwaves through the assembled resistance members. Earth, a backwater planet by galactic standards, held the key to ultimate power. Then we have no time to lose, Lyra said, her voice cutting through the commotion. We must gather our forces and make our stand on Earth. The fate of the entire universe hangs in the balance. As the resistance mobilized, Sarah retreated to a quiet corner of the station. The weight of responsibility settled heavily on her shoulders. She thought of her family, her friends back on Earth, blissfully unaware of the cosmic drama about to unfold on their doorstep. Caxlor found her there, his usually gruff demeanor softened by concern. "Are you ready for this, little human?" he asked. Sarah looked up at her unlikely friend, a small smile playing on her lips. "Ready? No. But I'll do what needs to be done. We all will." As they made final preparations, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that everything in her life, from her first karate lesson as a child to her mastery of the cosmic fist, had been leading to this moment. The final confrontation with the tribunal loomed, and the stakes couldn't be higher. With a deep breath, Sarah centered herself, feeling the energies of the cosmic fist flow through her. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them head-on. The girl who had once been mocked and underestimated was now the galaxy's best hope for freedom. As their fleet prepared to jump to Earth, Sarah looked out at the star-filled void. Somewhere out there, the tribunal was enacting its nefarious plan. But they had underestimated the power of free will, of beings coming together to fight for what was right. "Let's go save the universe," Sarah said, her voice filled with quiet resolve. The final battle awaited, and Sarah Chen, the human girl who had become a cosmic warrior, was ready to meet her destiny. Final showdown. The Resistance fleet dropped out of hyperspace in Earth's orbit, a dazzling array of alien ships appearing suddenly against the backdrop of Sarah's home planet. Her heart swelled with emotion at the sight of the blue marble, so familiar yet now seeming so small in the vastness of space. "It's beautiful," Zixix whispered, its multifaceted eyes reflecting Earth's oceans and continents. "And we're going to keep it that way," Sarah said, her voice filled with determination. "Lyra, what's our status?" The Resistance leader's hologram flickered to life on the bridge. "Our sensors have detected a massive energy buildup in a remote area of what you call the Himalayas. That must be where the tribunal is attempting to access the cosmic nexus." "Then that's where we're headed," Sarah nodded. "Caxlor, prepare the drop ships. Zixix, coordinate with Earth's defense systems. We don't want to be shot down by my own people." As the Resistance forces mobilized, Sarah retreated to her quarters for a final moment of preparation. She sat cross-legged on the floor, closing her eyes and reaching out with her senses. The energies of the cosmic fist flowed through her, stronger than ever as they neared the nexus. Suddenly, a familiar presence brushed against her consciousness. Sarah's eyes snapped open, her heart racing. "Mom," she whispered. Though light years separated them, Sarah could feel her mother's essence, a warm, comforting presence that she hadn't realized how much she'd missed. Somehow, the proximity to the nexus was amplifying her connection to Earth, to her roots. With renewed resolve, Sarah stood. This wasn't just about the galaxy anymore. This was about protecting her home, her family, everything she'd ever known and loved. The dropships screamed through Earth's atmosphere, buffeted by winds and anti-aircraft fire from tribunal forces already on the ground. Sarah gripped her harness tightly, centering herself in the chaos. "Remember the plan," she called out to her team. "Caxlor, you lead the ground assault. Zixix, infiltrate their systems and disrupt their defenses. I'll find a way to the Nexus chamber and stop the ritual." The ship landed with a bone-jarring thud, and Sarah was moving before the ramp fully lowered. The Himalayan air was thin and cold, but she barely noticed, her body humming with the power of the cosmic fist. The battlefield was a clash of the cosmic and the earthly. Tribunal forces, with their advanced weaponry and cybernetic enhancements, fought against the ragtag resistance army. Energy beams crisscrossed with more traditional gunfire, and the snow-capped peaks echoed with the sounds of war. Sarah carved a path through the chaos, her movements fluid and precise. Each strike was empowered by the cosmic fist, sending tribunal soldiers flying or short-circuiting their tech with bursts of energy. She was vaguely aware of Caxlor roaring orders nearby, his massive form a beacon of courage for the resistance fighters. As she neared the entrance to the tribunal's hidden base, a familiar figure stepped into her path. Grekthar, her former combat instructor, stood before her, his 4 arms each wielding a different weapon. "It doesn't have to be this way, Sarah," he said, his voice tinged with regret. "The tribunal's vision will bring true peace to the galaxy. Why do you resist?" Sarah dropped into a fighting stance, her body glowing with ethereal energy. "Because true peace can't be forced, Grekthar. It has to be chosen every day by free beings." With that, they clashed. It was a battle of master versus student, of rigid discipline against fluid adaptation. Grekthar's multiple limbs were a blur of motion, but Sarah flowed around his attacks like water, striking with precision and power. As they fought, Sarah could feel the energies of the Nexus growing stronger. Time was running out. With a series of moves that pushed her mastery of the cosmic fist to its limits, she finally broke through Grekthar's defense, sending him crashing to the ground. "I'm sorry," Sarah said, genuine sadness in her voice. "I hope one day you'll understand." She raced into the base, following her senses towards the source of the cosmic disturbance. The corridors were a maze of advanced alien technology, but Sarah navigated them as if drawn by an invisible thread. Finally, she burst into a vast chamber, its walls lined with pulsing crystals. At its center, the 3 members of the tribunal stood around a swirling vortex of energy, the cosmic nexus, raw power made manifest. "You're too late, human," the central figure boomed, its form shifting and writhing as it channeled the nexus's power. "The ritual has begun. Soon, reality itself will bend to our will." Sarah stepped forward, her voice steady despite the awesome forces at play around her. "It's never too late to do the right thing. Stand down, and we can find a better way, together." The tribunal's laughter shook the chamber. "Foolish child, you understand nothing of true power." As one, they turned their attention to her, cosmic energies lashing out like living weapons. Sarah moved on instinct, the cosmic fist guiding her actions. She dodged, deflected, and countered, each movement a battle against forces that could unmake stars. But she was just one person, and the tribunal's power seemed endless. A blast caught her off guard, sending her flying across the chamber. She hit the wall hard, pain exploding through her body. As Sarah struggled to her feet, she saw the Nexus's energies building to a crescendo. The tribunal was moments away from reshaping reality. In that instant, battered and exhausted, Sarah made a choice. Instead of fighting against the cosmic energies, she opened herself to them completely. The cosmic fist had taught her to channel and direct these forces. Now she would become one with them. Sarah stepped into the heart of the Nexus, letting its raw power flow through her. Pain and ecstasy, knowledge and oblivion, all of existence crashed through her consciousness. For a moment that stretched into eternity, Sarah Chen ceased to be an individual and became a conduit for the very essence of the universe. When awareness returned, Sarah found herself floating in a void of infinite possibility. The tribunal members were there too, their true forms revealed, ancient, twisted beings consumed by their lust for power. "What have you done?" they shrieked, their voices a discord that threatened to shatter reality. Sarah's voice, when she spoke, resonated with the harmony of countless stars. "I've set things right. The power of the Nexus was never meant for any one being or group to control. It belongs to all of us, to the entire universe." With a thought, Sarah undid the tribunal's ritual, their carefully laid plans unraveling across time and space. As their influence faded, she reached out, touching the minds of every being in the galaxy. In that moment of connection, the truth was revealed, the beauty and terror of a universe free from the tribunal's machinations, full of both danger and infinite potential. When it was done, Sarah found herself back in the chamber, the Nexus's energies fading. The tribunal members lay unconscious, their power broken. Outside, she could hear the sounds of celebration as the resistance realized their victory. Caxlor and Zixix burst into the chamber, their eyes wide with awe. "Sarah," Zixix breathed. "What happened?" "We felt everything changed." Sarah smiled, exhausted but filled with a deep sense of peace. "We won," she said simply. "The galaxy is free." In the days that followed, as the resistance worked to dismantle the last of the Tribunal's empire, Sarah found herself drawn back to Earth. Standing on a hilltop overlooking her hometown, she marveled at how ordinary everything looked, how unaware the people below were of the cosmic drama that had unfolded. "Will you stay?" Caxlor asked, his usually gruff voice soft with emotion. Sarah turned to her friends, Caxlor, Zixix, and the others who had joined her on this incredible journey. "Earth is my home," she said, "but so is the galaxy now. I think my path lies somewhere in between." As the sun set on a universe forever changed, Sarah Chen, the girl who had once been mocked by aliens, who had mastered an ancient cosmic martial art, who had reshaped reality itself, looked to the stars with wonder and excitement. Her journey, she realized, was far from over. It was, in many ways, just beginning. With the cosmic fist as her guide and the universe as her playground, Sarah was ready for whatever adventures awaited. And somewhere out there, in the vast cosmic dance, the energies of the Nexus pulsed in harmony with the beating of her heart, a reminder that in this infinite universe, anything was possible. The end, or perhaps just a new beginning.